Hi everybody, my name is Eamon Maher and I am the General Editor of the Reimagining Ireland series. I'm a very proud editor here today because we are celebrating and marking the publication of the 100th volume in the series. That is undoubtedly a landmark event and one that would never have been possible without the contribution, support and help of literally hundreds of people who have worked as authors, as editors, as proofreaders, as peer reviewers, and as contributors. The staff in Peter Lang has been admirable, and the three commissioning editors with whom I have worked, Joe Armstrong, Christabel Scaife, and Tony Mason, have been incredibly supportive and innovative and inspiring. Although it's invidious to single out one person, I feel it incumbent upon me to give special mention to Eugene O'Brien, who of course is the author of the first volume in the series and who has also worked with me on several collections since then, including this 100th volume. Eugene is a source of unbelievable inspiration to me and support, and his massive contribution to Reimagining Ireland is just one of the many ways in which he has shown himself to be an invaluable collaborator and friend. Writing in the Golden Jubilee issue of the Irish University Review, Spring-Summer 2020, editor Emily Pine made the point that Irish Studies, quote, has no founding charter, no list of commandments, or global constitution. It emerges from the interest of individuals and groups, and it will always reflect the times in terms of what it includes and also what it excludes. What Pine says here is undoubtedly true. This time last year, who would have envisaged the ravages that COVID-19 has brought in its wake? A decade ago, who would have predicted that Britain would no longer be a member of the European Union? The rise and fall of the Celtic Tiger shook the very foundations of Irish society and left people disbelieving and despondent. These events changed so many things in Ireland, and already they are the subject matter of academic analysis, as is only right. The times change, and Irish Studies, if it wants to remain relevant, must adapt, be flexible, or else risk becoming moribund. The 6 decades since it first emerged as a discipline have shown that there is no shortage of innovation or daring among Irish scholars when it comes to coping with change. This 100th volume, therefore, casts a forward look, as opposed to what Frank O'Connor once referred to as the backward look, at how Irish Studies might evolve in the third millennium. With a foreword by Declan Kiberd, undoubtedly the preeminent Irish Studies scholar, it contains essays by other acknowledged experts in the area. Literature, cultural theory, sport, the Irish language, food and beverage studies, cinema, women's writing, Brexit, religion, the legacy of the Celtic Tiger, the legacy of the Great Famine in this instance, Northern Ireland, archival research, musicology, are all Irish Studies in North America, are all touched upon, among others. Unsurprisingly, the scope and diversity in this compilation are very much in sync with titles published to date in the Reimagining Ireland series. Throughout the series, in fact, authors have crossed generic boundaries and embraced the transdisciplinary opportunities that research in Irish Studies facilitates and indeed encourages. Whereas other book series have dealt with and continue to cover defined, specialised aspects of Irish Studies, such as history, post-colonialism, literature, Reimagining Ireland accommodates the ever-expanding nature of the discipline under the one roof, as it were. A good example of this would be the 2014 collection Tickling the Palate, Gastronomy in Irish Literature and Culture, which constitutes the first academic study of Irish gastronomy. The popularity of this book is undoubtedly linked to the keen interest that exists currently among the general public for anything related to food. It is fair to say that in the last 2 or 3 decades, Ireland has become a nation of foodies. And therefore, the popularity of this tome, which sold extremely well, it was probably one of the best sellers in the series, is down to that interest. It's down to that engouement with everything that is related to food. Another important volume, I think all 100 volumes, by the way, are important. Another, I suppose, landmark volume would have been the Recalling the Celtic Tiger, published in 2019, which features 123 separate entries on a sample of the main actors, features, events and consequences of the Celtic Tiger period. It reached a more general readership than is usually achieved by an academic title, something which as series editor I am committed to pursuing in future publications. The Celtic Tiger, Recalling the Celtic Tiger, and indeed this 100 volume are both retailing at 25 euros, which represents extraordinary value for money. But the reason for this is my desire and that of the commissioning editor, Tony Mason, for the book to be widely available in bookshops and for people to be able to buy them at a reasonable price. Because academics, they don't just want to write books that are just going to gather dust on a bookshelf. They want to have books that are read, that are cited, that are referred to, and that are and the message of which is assimilated. So hopefully that's something that we will do in the future. We will have books that are available at an affordable price, while in no way diminishing the academic integrity of the tomes. The Reimagining Ireland reader, which is a selection of essays from the first 50 volumes in the series, was launched in what was known as IT Tala in February 2017, with His Excellency President Michael D. Higgins in attendance. In his introduction, David Lloyd notes that, I'm quoting him, "To reimagining Ireland is at one and the same time to bring forward what was already there, but occluded by the official narratives in play at any moment." According to Lloyd, Ireland had a great capacity, historically, to generate creative works that others would theorise. Such a role relegates the country to the colonial periphery, to what he refers to as the ragged western edge of that particular world. Lloyd concluded, "It has been the work of the last decades, however, and the work of Reimagining Ireland as a series, to theorise Ireland from our own location." Indeed, Luke Gibbons reinforced Lloyd's point when he said in an endorsement of the series that Reimagining Ireland is, quote, "at the cutting edge of what it means to be Ireland." Having the confidence and empathy of two of the founding fathers of Irish studies is deeply consoling, and I think it augurs well for the future. There's no reason why in the next decade or so there will not be 100 more volumes in the series. And it is my hope that the insights and research of our authors will contribute substantially to Ireland's understanding of itself in all its myriad dimensions. One thing is certain, by 2030, the appearance, reality, and multiple meanings of Ireland will have changed considerably. Irrespective of the nature and effects of unknowable global events, such as the recent pandemic, this 100 volume marks a shared ambition to honour Irish Studies' foundational commitment to revealing and renewing Irishness within and beyond the national space. I, for one, am looking forward to the future with confidence and optimism. Happy reading. Thank you for your support.